Hi, this is Scott Olson with FounderBuzz, and I'm here with Bob Cooper of Frontier Service Design. Thanks for joining us, Bob.
Sure, Scott. Glad to be here.
Great. Well, would love to hear a little bit about you and your company, so why don't we just start off with an introduction?
Sure. We started Frontier Service Design back in the fall of 2008, and really came about because of a lot of work that I'd been doing in the past. I built and sold a professional service firm, one of the first interactive marketing agencies in the country back in the 90s, and consulted with a number of companies who were all service-based businesses. So they had, my motto was sort of no patents, no products, no problem. And, these were businesses that really had no proprietary technology or products. It was all based on service. And came to realize there was a growing discipline in Europe that actually had started in the UK and the Netherlands around this concept of service design. People go to college to learn to design buildings, they're architects. People go to school to learn to design products, and they're engineers. But heretofore, nobody's ever gone to school to learn how to design services, and yet services represent 80% of the U.S. economy right now. So we could argue whether that's good or bad long-term for the U.S. economy, but the fact is that that's what we're focused on, just working with companies that develop services. So my particular interest is in helping companies identify new sources of revenue, particularly around services.
Okay, yeah, and so we have a lot of startups that visit us, a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of time there are entrepreneurs that are looking at that choice between a product-based revenue stream where they're selling, product licenses, or a recurring revenue services stream. I mean, what is some of the key considerations they ought to think about when they're looking at creating a services-based business?
Well, the beauty of services, and what we're seeing happen a lot, like for example, initially we did a lot of work with pure service businesses, large companies like American Express or Wyndham Hotel Group, right? They're pure service businesses. But a lot of companies are now realizing, even product companies, that they need to have a service component, to their business, which enhances the product. And a classic example that is used is I'm blanking out on my iPhone, iPad,
iTunes.
iTunes and the music player. Why am I zoning out on the music player?
It's iTunes.
No, the player, the actual device.
Oh, the iPod?
iPod, thank you. Yes, of course. So the iPod, iTunes, right? It's a service wrapped around a product, or like for Chevrolet and GM, OnStar, right? It's a service that enhances the ownership of the product. So we are always looking at opportunities like that. And the beauty of services is that they're flexible, they're quick to launch, they're easy to manage, relatively easy to manage, and really done right can create a very sticky relationship, with the buyer. So instead of just once and done, bless you, once and done on the product, somebody can actually create that recurring revenue stream, through a monthly service component on top of a product. So
yeah, and if somebody's looking to add that stream to their business, if they're looking to either complement their product or they're really looking at that being the core of their business, is there one key mistake that you see these businesses making again and again when they're looking at offering services?
I think it's probably the biggest problem is being very myopic, looking at it from their own perspective. Of course people need this, but they never, really go out and talk to customers and really test it or test the idea, the validity of the idea beforehand. And so that's really what service design is all about, is how do you come up and we do a lot of ethnographic research with users to understand really what they need and observe how people are using a product or service currently and identifying what those opportunities are. It's not a matter of us what we think it is, it's really a matter of what the consumers, but sometimes those consumers, whether they are true consumers or B2B buyers, really can't articulate what they need, right? So a lot of it's going out in the field and observing people and how they're interacting and what they're doing and what they're not doing and where they're getting hung up. And so I think the biggest mistake is that people really create from the inside and take it out to the market, as opposed to going out and having the market really tell them. It sounds very basic, but it just happens over and over and over again.
It's very similar to what product companies face as well, being very
exactly.
and internally focused. So.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I certainly appreciate you spending the time with us today and joining us on FounderBuzz.
Sure, appreciate it, Scott. Take care.
Thanks, Bob.